Hi guys, it's Crafty Girl Marieke here, and today I'm not having a coloring tutorial, but today I'm going to show you how you could make a shaker card. It is on request of a couple of our customers, and well, that's why I am going to show you some options how you can create shaker cards for all your occasions. Like I made this card a while back using our Shake It Up and polar bears Shake It Up stamps for Christmas. And for this one, actually, there's a couple of options to make shaker cards, and actually, I'm going to show you three this today. And first off, for like this card, I used those shaker pouches combined with dies, and they are from my favorite things. I'm sorry if you hear some noise in the background because my washing machine is running, so I hope we don't get any trouble with it. But for like this card, I use the shaker pouches with dies, and they come in different shapes and forms. Like this one is a trio shaker die, and it has pouches that exactly fit into the die cut. But with this one, for example, you can buy a solo die, and then you can fit one. You can cut these in parts, and you can use it for like only one small shaker pouch. So it's a bit depending on what you want to use them for, how many shaker pouches you can use. But they also come in different size and shapes. Like this is a wine glass they used, and you have like this small, you can make a window out of it or a small gift. So you buy the die, and then you have to buy the shaker pouches loose with it. And they have circles as well, like for Merry Christmas, and this one is Happy Birthday. So you cut this in your cardstock, and then the hole that gets out of it exactly fits your shape that you'd cut. So yeah, it's really easy. But this is optional if you have like some money, because the dies are quite well, not they're good dies, but they're expensive. So yes, and you have to buy the pouches as well. But then again, if you buy one of those one time, and you can refill those pouches every time over and over and over again. So yeah, it's a great way to use them. For like this card, I used the trio die. So I'm going to show you how I actually use this one. I did off camera, I did some pre-cutting, because if I needed to do it when you were watching it, it would take a lot of time. So what I did is I took a panel of pink cardstock, and I die cut this trio out of it. What you will get is that you have three loose circles. And if you remove the die, you will see that this pouch fits perfectly into those holes. So it's really a great way just to, if you are not experienced and you can miss the money, it's really an extra you get with it. So what you do is you glue those pouches onto this card now with just liquid glue. And actually all liquid glues would fit, but do. And you can fill them up with your shaker stuff. Like for this card I used just plain sequins, and you can see you can fit a couple in there, enough at least to make it shake. But what I always do, because I like for this card the circles that I cut out of it, I reused them because I wanted to have the same look. But if it doesn't matter for you, you can just plainly give another color, or just glue this onto your base card, and then put it onto your base card. So it's just what you want yourself. But I like to put those circles back into my shaker pouches. So what I do is that I take a piece of white cardstock, or just a scrap piece of paper, and I put it right behind it. Then I take my pencil and I just trace those circles, so I know where the holes is going to be. Then I take some glue and some I don't some glue in the circles, and if my glue is getting out of it. Nope, the glue is not willing to get out. I think it's the wrong one. I think I need this one. Yes, this one is better. So you take some glue and you put those circles right on top of it. If you're using liquid glue, my tip is not to put in those shakers stuff right away, because they probably will stick to your glue. So you want to let it dry for like a minute or 5 and do something else in the meanwhile, if you have the patience for it. So you put those right where they belong. And you see now, for like, if I wanted to put this behind this card, I might be in trouble, because I don't have enough space here to close my pouch, but you know what I get. So you glue the pouches onto your cardstock, and then you fill it up with shaker stuff. Well, you have all kinds of shaker. Like I said, for this card I used sequins, but you can also use like those small pearls. This is small beadings. You can use those, and you have shaker stuff in like packages with small sequins and big sequins. You can buy, at least in Holland, you can buy like sets that have like those small stars, and here's some glitter stripes and some little stones. But there's also like, if you really like glitter stuff, you can just fill it with like glitters. So you can use actually all kinds of stuff to fill those pouches up. It's no problem at all. What you could also do is use, like, you have those fake snow that you use when it's Christmas. You could fill your pouches with that as well. The only downside might be that it might be a bit static. But yeah, you can check that. And if you figure out that your pouches are too static, the thing I found out what works really well is like that stuff that you use, anti-static powder, to use if you make like a card with embossing. Like, I always prep my cardstock with a anti-static powder, and then I heat emboss it. And I do that because if I don't do that, I found out that my embossing powder is sticking everywhere except for where I want it. So I don't want that. So I prep my cardstock with a anti-static powder, and then I go heat embossing. And you have, like, the anti-static powder comes in a bottle like this, but you can also buy it in like little bags, and then it's in there. And then you just pre-prep your card like this, and then you it's anti-static, and you can like heat emboss it. Or for my card, I always do the small ones to like go into the pouches like this, so the static is out of it, and then you can fill them up with whatever you want to fill them up. And then what you do is that this is a bit tricky. It's like you can see it because of the light where you should try to place those pouches, but then you should try to put them right on top of it. And what I always do is that I use liquid glue in this stage, because then I can still move my paper. So I use liquid glue to put it on there, and then I always look like from downstairs to see if they're right, and then I can just slightly move it so it will be on the same spots, and then you have your shaker pouches ready, because then it will be filled and you can it shakes. But then again, because I use liquid glue, I most of the times I set it aside so it can dry. So that's what you can do if you use those shaker pouches by My Favorite Things. They have all different kinds of shapes, but yeah, they cost you some money, so it's just up to you if you want to use them or not. And you can make fun cards like this. I also use the wine glass for like the lady with the wine from another set from Kraftin Kimmie stamps. So yeah, they're really versatile, but they cost you some money. So that's what you can do for if you have some cash laying around that you can use. If you don't have the money, or you're not willing to, if you like only want to make one shaker card or something like that, my I wouldn't buy those things. I just would go for the stuff that I have laying around. So then you have two options to do. And what you can do is like you have dies that have like a bit of extra space, so that it's a small circle, and you can die cut a lot of them. I think I die cut 6 here, and I glued 5 already together. And then you take just a smaller piece of die, circle die, that fits in here, and then you have like acetate. It's just like this transparent transparent paper, and you use that to cut a circle, and then you glue the circle in between those two paper patches. So you're going to put some glue in here. I think this is actually the easiest way to do it, because then you have your shaker loose from the card, and then you can decide wherever you want it. So you put this here, and then you can put another ring of paper on top of it. That's the wrong one. This one's empty. I need to fill it. So you glue this one on top of it. So like you can see now that there is still some stickiness. So what you want to do is that you really want to wait until it's dry, because otherwise all your screens and stuff, or your glitter, is going to attach to it. And you really don't want that, because then your shaker is not working, or at least half of the stuff is hanging on the side. So you really want to wait until it's dry enough. And if it's dried out, you can use your anti-static powder again, just to anti-static your this part. And you can do it as well with the glue. If it's still sticky, you can put some of this on it, and then it will release the stickiness of the glue. And then with the same circle die that you used to cut the transparent paper, you cut another circle. And what you're going to do is that you're going to put your shaker stuff in there. So like for example, I'm going to use stones now because they stick less. I can show you what I mean. Well, here I have small balls. So I'm going to put them in here just a bit, so I can show you what I mean. And then you're going to glue this again onto another circle. So you use a bit of glue. And you put the circle down there to close the shaker pouch that you made yourself. And then you can, and it's filled. See, like now it's there, still some stickiness, so it sticks there. But if you wait for a bit to dry it up, it will not stick. And then you make your own shaker pouch, so you can put it just on everywhere you want on your card. And it's no problem at all. You just use some double-sided tape and fit it in there. So yeah, that's an easy way how to make your own shaker pouches. So for this, I'm going to recap it. If you want to make this, just use a die that has like a broader border, and then you die cut it like 5 or 6 times. It's a bit depending on what type of shaker filling you're going to use. If you like these little balls, they take up really low, so then you probably will be ready with 3 dies. But for now I used 5, and then the last one is the 6th. So I die cut the panel 6 times, the circle, and then I glued 5 onto each other, and then I used a bit of transparent, I can't remember the name again, the transparency paper, and then I used another circle, and then you can use it in every kind of shape. If you have like a square or a rectangle, you can use every kind of shape or size, whatever you want, and you just make sure there is some transparency paper in between it, and you will be ready to go. And then you can glue this onto your card, and you can, like, if you have it like this, and you can here have an image, whatever you want. So yeah, that's one side you can do it. Another thing you can do is, if you have like a panel of cardstock, and I already pre-cut it, I die cut a circle in this out of this panel, and what you can do is like you use the transparency paper again to glue it onto your card. So I always, if I use this method, I will use my double-sided tape. So I will do this, and you want to make sure that it's closed, because if you don't close it, it will move. No, this is not fitting, so I will use a small side there. So that doesn't fit, so I use a smaller size tape. The other one is empty. It's just my lucky day today. In my opinion, this one is the most difficult option, because in my experience, this is the most sticky one. So what happens is that all the sequins and all your filling material will stick to the inside of the shaker pouch we're going to create now. So you remove the release paper, I think it's called in English. So you remove this, and then you place this on top of it, so your circle is closed again. You see, it's closed. So what you can do then is that you take your 3D tape, so the ones that is a bit thicker, and then again, it's all about how high you want to make your shaker pouch. So if you want to make a small one like this, you probably will be done with only this or twice this. But then again, if you use if you use this one on top of each other, you get more stickiness, and that's why I say that this option is the most annoying one, because you get the most sticky option out of it. So what you do then is you make small pieces of tape, and you fit them like right outside of the circle. So this is it takes a long time, because you have to make sure that those stick to each other, so your stuff is not getting out. It can't get out of the shaker pouch. So, but this is the most stickiest way, but also the most time-consuming way. Because, well, you can see you need to cut all those small pieces. Well, well, if you can see on the sides, it's closing. So that's something you want. You want to make sure that it is closed. And then if you have like it prepped for the whole circle, you grab your anti-static powder again, and you use it on the sides to make sure that the stickiness out of those 3D tape is gone. Because if you don't do that, then you have the same, what you get here with the liquid glue, it's going to get stuck to each other, and you don't want that, because then half of your shaker material is gone. So you finish this up. And then what I always do is that I cut a panel that is just a tiny bit smaller than the panel I used for the front of the card. And then I fill up everything with this tape. And then I fill my shaker pouch again with the material I want to use inside of it. I take the panel and I glue the panel on top of it. And then if you turn it around, you can see that it will be the same as if you use this thing, or it will shake eventually. But it's just way time consuming, so it's just up to you what kind of method you prefer. But I think if you don't have a lot of dies, or you don't have a lot of crafting materials, this is the easiest and the cheapest way to do it. Because you only need that acetate, and you need some cardstock and some double-sided foam tape. So yeah, that's basically it actually. So you fill it up with your foam tape, fill it with shaking material, and then glue another panel onto it like this, and your panel is ready. And then you can pull this together on your base card again, so it sticks like this, and you can just use normal double-sided tape. So for you guys, to recap, you have 3 different options. You have your shaker pouches that you can buy with dies, using them with the shaker pouches you can buy together. It costs you some money, but it's an easy way to do it. You can create your own shaker pouch by using multiple die cuts that can come from dies and glue them together with some acetate in between it, and you have your own shaker pouch. Or you can do it the longest way and make it yourself with a panel cardstock used with acetate, and then fill it up with foam tape, fill it up with shaker materials, and then you can glue it onto a piece of cardstock, so it will be a shaker pouch as well. So now, well, I hope this was a helpful tutorial. If you have more questions about how to make shaker cards, I would love to help you out another time. So let me know if there's any questions, and I try to answer them for you. Well, have fun making shaker pouches, and I can't wait to see yours. Bye bye!